In our last tier list video, we did our WWE pay-per-view tier list for 2024, and this time we're going to be doing the AEW side of things. Now, they don't have NXT or anything like that, so the amount of pay-per-views are going to be a little bit shorter, so there's only 9 in total for the year. But in general, there were really good pay-per-views throughout the entire year, and yeah, we're going to kind of rank these and see how we like them.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because, AEW pay-per-views are always pretty good. So, I'm sure we're going to have a lot in the top tiers and probably not many in the low tiers, to be honest.
And starting it off in 2024, we have one of the best pay-per-views of the entire year, one of the best feel-good moments, probably the best feel-good moment of the entire year, one of them at least. That is Sting's retirement match. It was Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks in Sting's final match, and it was just one of those, like I said, just one of those feel-good moments. Everyone felt good about Sting. He felt like he did enough. He put people over. He made a star in Darby Allin, especially at his age, at 60 plus years old, taking the bumps that he was doing through tables, off balconies and everything. But yeah, definitely a great match. Included in this one, though, is Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, which was, I know, one of your personal favorite matches of the year. And as well as Roderick Strong versus Orange Cassidy, which is one of, like, a fan favorite of AEW. And this is kind of the start to a good Roderick Strong build. And as well as Daniel Garcia, because he had a match versus Christian Cage as well. But yeah, this was a fun one.
Yeah, and you also can't forget Ospreay and Takeshita was on this card as well. And then the triple threat for the world champion with Samoa Joe, Hangman, and Swerve as well. But for me, I think this is an S tier, if I'm being honest. A lot of phenomenal matches. It ended with one of the best retirement matches we've ever seen. And also the vignette for Sting going into it was really cool. The last show call. So yeah, for me, probably S tier.
Yeah, like you mentioned as well, the vignette was amazing. The outro was amazing. The confetti, the tears, the crowd noises throughout the match. But yeah, I think I'll agree with you and put this one S tier because it kind of had a little bit of everything. The in-match quality, the feel-good moments, the new titles, the new champions rising. I believe Ospreay still wasn't fully signed yet. He's fully signed as part of Dynasty, if I'm not mistaken. That was his first AEW roster match.
I think this was, cause I think that was at that World's End where they announced it, and this was like his first official match.
Okay, yeah, definitely could be. I could be wrong with this one for sure. But moving on to Dynasty, this was another one of their better pay-per-views. They're starting off 2024 very strong, and it's kind of led by Kazuchika Okada versus Pac. Now, obviously, they're two of the just best in-ring wrestlers that you could possibly get, so you could about imagine the quality of that match. As well as we have Willow Nightingale, Julia Hart, we have Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and this is another big one, but Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May, and this is where obviously she defends before their big match later on in the year. But one of the better matches the entire year on this card was Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. Ranked very high. Obviously, just that match alone would rank this pretty high, but everything on this card was pretty good in general.
Yeah, for me, this is another high one. Probably not S tier because I don't think it has that big moment like a Sting retirement, and obviously it's unfortunate that you can't always have that, but for me, probably a high A tier.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It was just, like I said, it was just a very fun, and I didn't even mention it, but also this was Swerve, Samoa Joe, and Hangman as well, so that was another just very fun match that they kind of added to this and kind of made Swerve the star that he is today, basically. But now we have Double or Nothing. This is the arrival of Mercedes Moné taking on Willow Nightingale, and that's kind of the big match of the night here. Everyone was very much anticipating Mercedes Moné. Previous to this pay-per-view, she did like a little promo in ring. She debuted her new intro song and everything, and people were 50-50 on it, but they grew to like it over time. Yeah, this is one of her better matches. She returned here, so that's just a feel-good moment as well. While Ospreay had a great match versus Roderick Strong, which really kind of made me a fan of Roderick Strong.
The International Championship as well.
Yeah, which kind of led to a feud with him and MJF for a short amount of time on just Dynamite TV. This is also, unfortunately, where Adam Copeland breaks his leg versus Malachi Black. Took him out for a very long time until just recently. But, he came back and he's looking better than ever. So, yeah, this is going to be another really good pay-per-view. Not going to be S tier, but maybe A tier.
Yeah, for me, probably A tier as well. We also had that Anarchy in the Arena match was really fun. We seen Darby Allin. I think this is where he gets hung upside down. Jack Perry gets set on fire. So, I mean, yeah, this show is also really good. Also, an underrated banger from Swerve with Christian Cage as well, I think was pretty underrated as well. But yeah, probably A tier for me.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with A tier. But moving on to not one of my favorite cards of the year here, and that is Forbidden Door. Now, usually I am a little bit high on these because I like kind of learning some of the New Japan people that are coming in that I haven't heard of before, and even some of the people I have heard of before. But this one is one that just didn't really hit for me. However, we did see Mariah May win the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. We seen, I think, the final Lucha Bros match here as well. We've seen MJF versus Hechin Cero, Bryan Danielson, Shingo Takagi. We've seen Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa, Zack Sabre Jr., Orange Cassidy. And yeah, there were just a lot of amazing matches, but the best match of the entire year for women essentially is Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer. Really put Stephanie Vaquer on the map. Now she's in WWE doing really big things in NXT, potential next North American champion. But yeah, just an amazing pay-per-view overall. We also had Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. So yeah, a strong card, but I don't think I'm gonna put it in A tier. I think B tier is more appropriate.
Yeah, I can agree with this one. Again, it has some of those banger matches like the other ones. Doesn't have a big moment, but also some of the matches on this card fell a little flat for I think a lot of the crowd. But yeah, I think this is still a solid show. And yeah, hopefully, obviously, we're going to get Forbidden Door again this year, this time in London, England, probably at Wembley, I think they said. So yeah, should be another good card this year.
Yeah, 100%, because this is not where we get into London right now. But yeah, this is all in 2024, their biggest pay-per-view of the year. And I guess we're going to find out right now if they had one of the biggest cards of the year. Because it started off with Mariah May defeating Timeless Toni Storm, sending her back to rookie Toni Storm. Yeah, she becomes the new AEW Women's World Champion. A very big match, very big moment. Everyone was excited for Mariah May, a very young and up-and-coming talent. I don't want to say up-and-coming because she's already here. But yeah, she's already a star, and she's amazing. This was also headlined by Will Ospreay, MJF. We seen Mercedes Moné in a disappointing match versus Britt Baker. We also seen a short but sweet Jack Perry Darby Allin match where Sting makes a quick appearance, kind of just shows up and puts the nail in the coffin per se. And then finally the main event, Bryan Danielson defeating Swerve Strickland to put his name in the AEW history books as AEW World Champion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this one might not have the best match quality, match for match with some of the other shows, but the environment, the feel of it all in is kind of getting to that Mania feel, I feel like. I mean, they're just, whenever it's around, you're like, man, this is really exciting. I'm hyped up for this. I remember we kind of talking about it back when it was about to happen. We're like, man, really excited for this show because this is a lot of things can actually happen because we have the potential of Danielson potentially retiring, would Swerve keep the belt. So yeah,
and I was very excited about Britt Baker's return. It was, a little bit underwhelming, unfortunately, but I was very excited in the moment to see that. But up next we have.
Oh, we're gonna rank it first.
Oh yeah, yeah, we might need to do that. But yeah, this is gonna be. It's definitely not S, but I feel like it's a strong A.
Yeah, I wasn't put it S if I'm being honest. Just because, like I said, the feel and the matches were pretty good. A lot of bangers on this one, but I could stand for an A.
Yeah, I think A is valid for it. Another thing as well is I believe this was the Jamie Hayter.
Return on the pre-show.
Yeah, so that was very
and
cool.
Nigel also returned to pro wrestling as well during the gauntlet match.
Yeah, so that was definitely a fun one. But now we're moving on to the pay-per-view that's immediately after this one, a week after, which is kind of crazy. But we have MJF versus Daniel Garcia at All Out. We have the Young Bucks defeating the Blackpool Combat Club, Ospreay defeating Pac, Chris Statlander in an amazing hard-fought match with Willow Nightingale where we've seen light tubes breaking, we've seen thumbtacks, we've seen everything you can imagine in this match. One of the better hardcore matches of the year, now that I'm kind of thinking about it. But we also seen Okada defend his AEW Continental Championship in a four-way match, and Mercedes Moné Shida Bryan Danielson, Jack Perry, Hangman Swerve, and this was that lights out steel cage match with the infamous needle, the brick, the just everything that you can imagine. Another one of those amazing hardcore matches of the year.
Yeah, for me, this is easily top 2 tiers. I might be a little biased in saying I want it S, so I can probably understand why a lot of people are going to put it A.
Yeah, I think A is more appropriate. I feel like obviously Swerve and Hangman was absolutely just brilliant, but I feel like everything else was kind of calm. It wasn't nothing too crazy outside of that one. But moving on to Wrestle Dream, this is our final Bryan Danielson appearance before he was unfortunately taken out by Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. But this night starts off with a conglomeration defeating the Dark Order. It starts off as well with Jay White defeating Hangman. This is kind of the start to this Jay White hopeful push that we're doing. He unfortunately just lost the Continental Classic as of the recording of this. But there's other opportunities for him to come in more. But this was a great start to his push. Mariah May defeated Willow Nightingale. Takeshita defeated Will Ospreay for his International Championship, which is a very fun one. I believe this was the Kyle Fletcher turn as well, with the screwdriver and all that kind of stuff. Could be wrong with that. Maybe that was like the Dynamite before or after, but somewhere around here. But Darby Brody, that was a fun one. And obviously, the main one, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson. This is the bag over the head, the taking out of Bryan Danielson. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I think I want to put it in A. However, I think B is more appropriate for it because, again, there is a few banger matches on this card. However, I just don't think it can it really touches some of these other pay-per-views.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Obviously, the Danielson match is amazing. But the Mercedes match felt a little bit flat, but this is where she starts to pick it up, starting off right here at Full Gear. But yeah, for this one, Full Gear 2024, one of their final pay-per-views of the year, we have MJF defeating Roderick Strong in an amazing match where they fight on the outside and everyone sort of kind of gets involved at one point or another. So that was a fun one. Mercedes Moné, Chris Statlander in their first match. Just one of the better matches of the year. Probably Mercedes' best match since coming to AEW was this in particular, Chris Statlander match. We've seen Jay White defeat Hangman Adam Page yet again, taking the score to, I believe it was like 6-2, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on that one. But an amazing match, and Kyle Fletcher defeating Will Ospreay. Really a star-making moment right there, in my opinion. Takeshita defeating Ricochet. Bobby Lashley defeats Swerve. And Moxley defeats Orange Cassidy in just a big brawl-out match.
Yeah, for me, this one's probably A tier again. I don't think it has maybe like the star power that some of the other shows have. But, I mean, some of these matches are just insane. Like you mentioned, the Mercedes and Chris was a match I really enjoyed. Hangman and Jay White was really fun. The Fletcher Ospreay was really nice. And the Moxley Orange Cassidy match was pretty solid as well. I think Orange Cassidy had a really good performance there to kind of show that he could be a future world champion in the company.
Yep, for sure. But this one, I think this one can go probably stuck in between A and B again, to be completely honest.
Yeah, for this one, I think I want to put it A again, but I think B might be a bit more appropriate.
Yeah, I think B as well. Comparing to the other ones in this category, I do think it's like kind of right alongside Forbidden Door range as far as the entertainment I had for the night. But moving on to the final AEW pay-per-view, World's End, we see Will Ospreay get his win back over Kyle Fletcher in another amazing match. Okada defeats Ricochet, also as part of the Continental Classic, and Mariah May defeats Thunder Rosa in another crazy Tijuana street fight match where we once again see the thumbtacks get involved. We see tables, we see chairs, we see a little bit of everything here, as well as MJF defeating Adam Cole for the Dynamite ring. Something that I think everyone sort of expected. I don't think anyone necessarily expected Adam Cole to be walking around with that ring anywhere. But we're seeing the second match of Mercedes and Chris, which was also very amazing. Okada defeats Will Ospreay in the finals of the Continental Classic, which is just a big match that everyone wanted and was expecting. And then after this match, we also see a Kenny Omega show up, which was just great and amazing. Which it's not done yet because Moxley defeats Orange Cassidy, Hangman Adam Page, and Jay White just for Adam Copeland to then show up, and he finally comes back from his broken leg. And now that basically puts us where we're at now. But yeah, this was a very fun card. The arrival of Kenny Omega was just a massive moment. Adam Copeland, same thing. Or I guess Cope, I should call him. But yeah, this was a fun pay-per-view. It's going to be pretty up there, I think. What do you think? I'm almost leaning towards S tier just because of everything that kind of happened before and after and during. But what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I was looking at it like, man, this might just be an S tier just because, like you mentioned, the Kenny Omega return, Adam Copeland return, and then all the great matches on top of that. I think it kind of has to go S. I mean, 2 big returns with a lot of great matches. You kind of can't beat that.
Yeah, we also seen rookie Tony Storm make her debut here. But yeah, it was a very fun card. I mean, Ospreay, Fletcher, Okada, Ricochet, Mariah, Thunder Rosa, MJF, Adam Cole, Takeshita, Powerhouse, Hobbs as well. That was another sleeper that I didn't mention. But yeah, this was an amazing card, and I think at the time maybe I ranked it a little bit lower in our review, but now that I'm kind of looking back at it and remembering certain details and things that happened after this, I think S tier is perfect for this one.
Yeah. But yeah, this is our tier list. I mean, look at it right there. I mean, they started the year with an S tier, ended the year with an S tier, and everything in between was at least an A or a B. So I think you can definitely say that AEW's 2024 pay-per-view catalog was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been maybe a little bit weak on the Dynamite side of things. Collision, Rampage, Rip Rampage. But yeah, it's been a little bit weak TV-wise towards the end of the year, but I think they're starting to pick it up now, and this is going to lead to a great year for AEW in 2025, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, AEW will never disappoint, so I'll always have a hope that even if the TV product might not be the best at times, I know the pay-per-views will always bring me right back into what's going to happen next week on a Dynamite.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys for watching. Let us know what you guys think about our list and what changes you would make, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.